tight, take up any slack, and then let's see how loose it gets. The trouble with this is there's a lot of slack in these gears, so that's not really something I can get rid of without making new gears or something. So this is just about making it smooth. Let's get that here. So it's all about getting this to sit somehow like that, and then cut it to a length. And it should just reside there, just sit in the middle like that, so that that can go up and down around it. And when it pulls, the pulling is obviously that way, so if something went over the back, that would be sort of convenient. And the way I had it for testing was like that. So one piece of plastic going through the back gap, piece of wire through the front gap, and it just sat over there like that. So the rear part essentially acted like a washer. It's the rear, underneath at the rear, like that. This might be pretty good. And so let's get the top one wired in most of the way. Obviously the first bit is the easy part. And then give it a few twists, not too many. One more maybe. And here we're going to push that one through there. This is a bit. There we go, magic. Put it over the top. Lead screw, and so it works. Lead screw on. Yep. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Let's just take a piece off. And think about it. I want to snap those little holes. I'm hoping to get through there with this. It might not be sharp enough. I'll have to try that on the ground here. Let's try that. As for the holes, let's put a little dot on them. Beep. Fine. Unless the originals are just full of oil. But there we go. It's looking pretty good. let's go back over here and we'll put it all back together again. And this part, which just fell off, just goes on like that. Shouldn't matter which way it goes on, it just goes on. Yeah. Yeah, it serves the purpose. Now let's try the new lock here. See if that's changed. So there's open. Definitely. Yeah. Oh, plenty of pickup. Good. So that's nice. Hang on. Gonna go up. Get it on. Go up. Put this in. Up. Don't want to be doing that too often. Yep, there we go. Yeah. Hang on. Undo it. All right. Got to get that in the right spot. And we do that by going down this end, locking it. There. And putting the screws in. The whole thing fell out. Ooh, which way was it in? Damn it. Don't recall seeing that edge. Probably this way. With that down that way. Hang on, how the hell does this work? How the hell does this work? How the hell is that supposed to work? Oh, the whole thing's a wedge. Right. This will be the edge up here. I can tell by the grinding is that way. Down here the grinding is that way. So it's either like that, and it probably is. But it isn't because it doesn't fit like that. So we're going to flip it all the way over like that. That's not going to work at all. It can't be that way. So loose would be like that. Looser would be like that. Let's try that. Just for the sake of getting it on. Yeah, that's on. See, now I can feel that side. Feels good. If I hold it up, this side is not quite as nice. As to what part is actually doing something, hard to say. 5392. Draw them a bit in from the edge, get the numbers out. 5395. Okay. Well, didn't really need to cut the sponge. Gosh, it's definitely not blue. It's sort of like indigo. There's a little bit of an edge there, and a little bit of a drag mark just along there. But yes, on this side, quite clearly it's on the outside. Okay, so that's a different result from the whiteboard pen. So that's on there like that. We're getting a high spot there. See, the bar to me is scraped. It's scraped this way at factory as part of their adjustments, obviously. It's scraped there on that side, like right there underneath my tool, right there. Scraped a little bit there, but then it's scraped along there, that way, all the way along to here, and then it's scraped this way, mainly down here. So perhaps we do have a high spot right there. Or is it one of each? What I'm seeing is, of course, that hatch that I just painted on there comes off right. Like that. And like that. That bit. And that bit. And it feels like that. It feels like that's the spot too. Ever since I very first had it, operated this, it felt like that. Just doing a little dry run over here. Yeah, mainly up there. A little bit down here. Let's try this one. So that's the corner that's here. That's that one, and that's this one, and it's right in the middle there, which I wouldn't be able to do by moving this around. It's in the middle. You see, if I was uneven, I would be doing the edges, but no. Well, there you go. How interesting is that? Because it's bound to happen. So I'm going to be from here. Pretty good. Now it's like a sieg with all this stuff. Okay, that's obviously slack as. Now this would normally live here in that area. And at most I would want it to go out there. Oh, God, there's a ton of slack in there, and then it's too tight. Oh, that's terrible. Let's try the middle. Set this. We'll have to see what that is like. I'm not sure what that's. I think I'm going to need to see what that's like with the handle, because this one's turned out very loose on the handle, very easy, because I've made everything so easy there. So it might be fine if this is tighter like that. Might be. Yeah, let's try that. I'll put this in and just hope for the best. This one's actually going a little easier. Right. And that still feels really nice. Yeah, so the things can be a lot tighter than they feel they should be, because this, of course, makes it a lot easier to turn it. That one, though, was tight. It doesn't matter. I get the feeling that one can be tight. Let's adjust the backlash part here, see if we can fix that up. And it's all crooked, so I'll put a 0 on that screw. And let's see what's going on here. So that one's undone. I've already used up all of the, and that one is undone. So that one's, let's make that the 0. So that one's done. Let me just go around to a different one, to this one. That's pretty good, that. I've got no slop in there, but overall there's that, which is the same as it was. Yeah. And just see what it feels like. Let's go. It firms up there at that point. And then I guess, it's hardly anything. But yeah, there's that little spot there. Now, it doesn't actually go that far. It actually stops moving about there. So in fact, it never even gets there. Yeah, well, that's fine. So it goes from there to there. Obviously goes to there. So the whole place, the range it's meant to move in is very, very nice. That's great. Without having any experience in these matters, that feels great to me. Feels a lot better than it did out of the box. So let's consider that to be done. Something about this here, about the lead screw, because although I had it adjusted this end up and down, that end is as it was from the factory. The right end, because I took this piece off, you can move it up and down about that much. So, I took this over to the right, clamped it up like that, and, got it to the right spot. And the right spot was so that when I was doing this, it wouldn't go up and down, so that clamping it would not push it in one direction or the other. But what I did keep noticing was that even though that was the right height, that clamping it, say here, would cause it to go that way, cause the thread to move that way. And initially I just thought, well, that's probably just an action because of the way it works. It's always going to do that. But no, of course not. It's because of this adjustment. This piece here is loose on that, and you can move it around. So I had adjusted it when I put it together. I simply moved it up against the body here as closely as possible and screwed it like that, assuming that it would be somehow square or something. Well, not the case. The real case is you need to adjust it not just up and down there, and presumably there, but also this way. And so I had a quick go at that and got it perfect. Now the lead screw doesn't move at all when I clamp it. It just doesn't move. Perfect. So that's something that needs to be done. And that was as simple as, first doing this one on the right, then doing this one by loosening it off. As soon as you loosen it, it drops. So you only loosen it a tiny bit so you can still move it. And just go find a spot and go back and forth and just jiggle it around until it doesn't move. And now the screw neither goes up and down, nor does it go back and forth when I clamp it. So that would seem to be perfect. So in fact, I'm going to lock it in place like that. That seems good. Okay, so now I can move it, lock it. Great. Well, I had this all very nicely set up. No slop or anything in there. It's really good, really nice. So why waste all that work? Well, we won't. I'll leave the ball bearing in there. I'll just slack it off a bit, like that. And those would need to come out no matter what. So the other thing is to extend this hole. And there's two things that can be done. You can extend it and deepen it. So there's like two levels to it. And that would work if you're quite clear about this step where it goes from one into the other. You see that that ball bearing that sits on the other end of that grub screw with a spring, it doesn't know how far. It can go in as far as it wants. And so one could, for example, take out this slot here. So join that up with that, and then make a deeper hole a little bit further along. It's got to go further along. It really does. How hard is this? Probably not very hard. Yeah, how loose should that be? I don't know. I actually don't know. Oh. Well, in fact, right, tight all the way. It's tight. That's too tight. So it's the it's the spinning that matters here. And there it starts to spin. Gosh, that's a close. And that locks it. Well, there's a revelation. The adjustment should be by whether or not you can spin it, not whether or not you can feel anything like this. Because obviously if it clamps it so tight that it's holding it. See, like there it isn't. And if I back off even a tiny bit, tighter, a tiny bit more, and that's gripping quite badly. I go off all the way, it's tight. Well, that's the case. Okay, interesting. And that's quite loose. And then that's tight. That is the adjustment. Why didn't it say that in the manual?